We have some breaking news, a major coronavirus news. Queensland deciding to shut its borders. Nine's Chris O'Keefe joins me now. Chris, what do we know?
Well, Mark, Anastasia Palaszczuk just took to Twitter and said that her cabinet, the Queensland cabinet, had resolved to shut the border between Queensland and New South Wales. Now, I'm assuming that what will apply is what we are seeing in other parts of Australia. So the ACT, South Australia, Western Australia and Tasmania have all said, if you are an interstate traveller, you must isolate for 14 days. Now, I'm told that this will not affect freight and food supplies into Queensland, fuel, petrol, groceries, things like that. But it will apply to travellers. So anyone wanting to go from Sydney to Brisbane or Sydney to the Gold Coast, that will not be possible.
What do you think that means, though? The communities on the Tweed, there'd be so many people living on one border or another and then working in the other. How would they be able to get to their workplace?
Well, it's fascinating because this is an unprecedented situation. We love that word, unprecedented, but it is. Queensland and New South Wales shutting its borders. You've got at Coolangatta there, you've got twin towns on one side of the border and then 100 metres up the road, you've got Green Hill Surf Club, and people often walk between it for accommodation, holidays, things like that. And for the Queensland government, they're going to have some sort of policing arrangement on that border, given that it is so frequently used and so populated by people. People work in Surfers Paradise, yet live in Tweed Heads and Chindra and even further down to Byron Bay in that northern New South Wales area. It's going to be quite an effort for Queensland to keep the New South Welshmen out.
And logistically huge too, because we've seen down in South Australia, the police have got to effectively man every road leading into the state. So you would have to have station checkpoints at every road along the Queensland border. That is huge.
It's amazing, and not just on the coast either. You've got to push it all the way through to St George and Western Queensland and places like that. As we know, Goondiwindi, part of that is in Queensland and part of it's in New South Wales. So a very difficult situation.
So Queensland's taken this step. That just basically leaves on the eastern seaboard New South Wales and Victoria still linked. How soon will it be before, say, Victoria closes its borders?
Well, you wonder, because we've got a situation in New South Wales where Sydney is essentially the Wuhan of Australia. We saw more than 100 cases overnight. It's a huge problem for the New South Wales government to manage, let alone the Australian government to manage. Melbourne, they haven't got anywhere near as many coronavirus cases down there. However, maybe they think it's too far gone. But what's interesting here is we saw that the 14-day enforced isolation with the shutdown of the borders in WA and South Australia pretty much killed off the AFL season. Now, the NRL have been absolutely hot to trot that they will forge on no matter what. But they've got three teams, the Gold Coast, North Queensland and the Brisbane Broncos. And you've got the Warriors who are staying in Kingscliff on the other side of the border, supposed to play out of the Gold Coast Stadium. So what does this mean for the NRL in terms of getting players around the place and fulfilling their commitments?